Jimmy Butler, from nobody to an NBA superstar. Imagine being fatherless as a toddler, being homeless as a teenager, and having to sleep on your friend's sofa. This is the story of Jimmy Butler. And you haven't even heard the best part. Born in rural Texas, NBA superstar Jimmy Butler is no stranger to broken Black American homes, but he has a deeper story. We all know the classic broken home story generally involves an irresponsible father who walks away from his family. However, it's rare that your mom is capable of kicking you out of the house at the young age of 13. Jimmy's daily task was to hit the park to play ball, but before playing, he made a point of announcing to the other players that he was going to the NBA and would be a celebrity in the future. How prophetic! When was the last time a hooper dominated the postseason matches and single-handedly carried his team through a playoff conference? I'm talking about LeBron James in 2016 and Kawhi Leonard in 2019. In the 2022 NBA playoffs, Jimmy showed that he was the best player on the court so frequently that the Miami Heat seemed invincible. He silenced his detractors with one of the best playoff performances of all time in the Eastern Conference Finals Game 1. His incredible stat line read 41 points, 5 assists, 9 rebounds, 4 steals, and 3 blocks. He did all that shooting 63% from the field and 94% from the free throw line. But how did it all happen? What was his grass-to-grace journey like? And who were the key figures in it? This and more in the video. Jimmy was born in Houston, Texas. And while his early days were fairly normal, everything changed when he was 13 years old. His father left the family, and his mother sent him out of the house simply because he reminded her too much of her husband. At that point, Jimmy had to bounce from house to house to find a place to sleep, and sometimes he even had to sleep on the streets. In Texas, football is the main sport, and that's what most people watched and played. But Jimmy wasn't into football, so he switched to basketball. While playing in a summer basketball league match, he was noticed by Jordan Leslie. Jordan was a freshman football and basketball player at the school, and he challenged Jimmy to a three-point shooting contest. That was how he made his first true friend. Leslie's family accepted him into their home and showed Jimmy love and support. The family was so supportive that although he wasn't well known to them, they let him stay as long as he had to. After bouncing from couch to couch, Jimmy now had a place to call home and was finally able to have the stability he needed to commit to his game. From then on, he knew what he had to do to achieve his goals and make himself and the Leslies proud. Jimmy began playing basketball for Tyler Junior College, and with the ambition of making the NBA in his heart, he dominated right from the get-go. Impressive, he thought, but could he really put up such performances on a regular basis? In the next game, he put up 35 points and had his answer. Now, although he dominated the game, he was playing at a junior college, and scouts largely aren't usually thrilled by that. He knew he had to go to a big university to achieve his dream. This was a problem because he had a teammate already attracting Marquette University scouts. So it was a stiff competition for who would get recruited by the school. Buzz Williams, the Marquette University basketball team assistant coach, regularly came to their games in search of talent, and he noticed Jimmy. So Buzz told Jimmy that he would offer him a spot if he ever had the head coaching job. Although that was promising, it wasn't a guarantee. A lot of work still had to be done, and so Jimmy stepped up. And in his freshman year, he averaged 18.1 points, 3.1 assists, and 7.7 rebounds per game. This was good enough to get Buzz Williams to offer him a spot. Once again, in the next stage of his career, Jimmy faced stiff competition for the spotlight from a teammate already on the NBA's radar. His name was Wesley Matthews, and he was a star player for Marquette. However, Coach Williams saw the potential in Jimmy and always pushed him to the limit. He made him work harder than the other players and sometimes made him come in at 5:30 in the morning for extra drills. The pressure from Coach Williams was so much that he almost gave up. Good thing he didn't, because eventually, the hard work paid off. A year later, Wesley made his way up into the NBA after a remarkable season. Thus, the spotlight and responsibility fell on Jimmy Butler. It was time to step up and for all those extra drills for Coach Williams to pay off. But like everyone, Jimmy had doubts. Filling Wesley's shoes was major, and his draft stock wasn't too high at the time. However, Wesley Matthews later returned to the school and told Jimmy that he had what it took to play in the NBA. Those words helped him back to his feet, and with the support from Buzz Williams, Jimmy's faith in himself was restored. In the 2009-2010 season, he moved into the starting lineup and averaged 14.7 points and 6.4 rebounds per game. That year, he also earned the All-Big East Honorable Mention honors. The highlights of his season were 2 game-winning shots in the games against UConn and St. John's. Those crucial shots helped Marquette finish 11-7 in the Big East, earning its 5th consecutive NCAA tournament appearance. The following season, Jimmy averaged 15.7 points per game and earned an All-Big East Honorable Mention for the 2nd consecutive year. After that year, Jimmy decided it was time to make a move, and he declared for the NBA draft. This was a huge move because although his draft stock was better than in previous years, was it really good enough to get him drafted? Were all the training sessions and extra drills going to pay off? Was he going to let Jordan and his family down by not making the league? Or was he finally going to achieve his childhood dream? The 2011 draft was a long one for Jimmy, as his name was finally called as the 30th overall pick for the Chicago Bulls.
Jimmy Butler from Marquette University.
As he recalled it, he burst out crying with his mom. He had finally achieved his dream, proving his haters wrong. The celebrations came and went, but soon he realized the dream wasn't over. He had to step up to the new challenge, and at first, he didn't. Butler played 42 games in his debut season, didn't start a single game, and averaged just 2.6 points per game. He was a long way from superstardom. Jimmy later realized how far he had come, and that he couldn't let it all slip away, so he was determined to give basketball everything he had. He averaged 20.8 points, 6.5 rebounds, and 2.0 assists in the Summer League, and extended his contract. Since then, Jimmy's never looked back. By the 2013-2014 season, Jimmy was a prominent part of the team's rotation, and ended the season as part of the all-defensive second team. The following year, Butler had multiple 30-point games, including a career-high 33 points against the Bucks in the playoffs. He also ended that season as the league's most improved player. In the summer of 2015, he signed a $95 million deal for 5 years and ended the season as an NBA All-Star. In his last season, he scored a new career high of 40 points, averaging 23.9 points in the regular season. After that season, he moved to the Timberwolves team and averaged 22.2 points per game. With Andrew Wiggins and Karl Anthony Towns as teammates, Jimmy helped the Timberwolves qualify for the playoffs for the first time since 2004. After a brief season in Philadelphia, Jimmy got traded to the Miami Heat, where he had an excellent first season, further showcasing his gritty personality and work ethic. He averaged 19.9 points, 6.0 assists, and 6.7 rebounds, leading the team to its first trip to the NBA Finals since LeBron James, Chris Bosh, and Dwayne Wade were on the squad. A year later, Jimmy was named on the All-NBA third team after averaging 21.5 points, 7.1 assists, and 6.9 rebounds. He also recorded a league-leading 2.1 steals, which was the first time in 33 years that a Miami Heat player had led the league in steals. Jimmy is currently on a 4-year contract extension worth $184 million, has houses and cars, and more importantly, family and friends that love him. The ultimate rags to riches story. He forgave his father and mother, and represents an individual's ability to surmount obstacles, no matter how high they may be.